So, again, a lot of issues, but I think a lot of questions that need to be addressed. I agree 100%. If the direction is, and my recommendation would be, after discussing with Bill prior to his leaving on Friday, that if we could approach the county commission, ask them to delay their public hearing, now that they've indicated, at least to Michelle, that they're going to have one, that if we could delay that till August, allowing a chance for a workshop so that these questions can be formulated, we can do our research, interact with county planning, and at least get the issues distilled to the point where the questions of the council and the Moscow Planning and Zoning Commission can at least be addressed. It may be that there's not going to be a total agreement on what the city wants versus what the county commission wants. But at least at that point, questions will be answered. Perhaps things like expansion of the area of city impact will serve the needs of the city, and the county may agree with that. So that would be my recommendation.
Wayne?
I think, Gary, I think you laid it out really well. Thank you for that. This points to why I think that in order to do this properly, we're going to have to expand the area of impact and then lay it out on the line that folks that build a subdivision within the area of impact, while the city can't necessarily dictate specifically that they have to be at city standards, because as Michelle indicated, the county has the last say-so, right? So, right? But the folks that build that need to be aware that eventually, if they are annexed within the city, they have to be to city standards. So as long as they're aware of it, I don't have a problem.
Dan?
And I think we also got to remember that the county's not writing their ordinance for the city of Moscow. They're writing it for the county, and you know, hopefully whatever they write fits. I don't think it's fair to think that they would write a separate thing for, you know, actually it will be something separate for whatever area of impact we end up with, but you know, I think that we got to realize that they're trying to fit, you know, the entire county into something rather than just us. So, but yeah, I do think that we need to move forward with the recommendation that we start a dialogue.
And Michelle did talk about our area of city impact being distinct from all of the other communities
Yeah.
in the county. So, anybody else before I call on Wayne again? Okay, go ahead, Wayne.
Just respond to Dan, and certainly I'm not asking the county to write something specific for the city. That would not be reasonable. The county's asking for our blessing on this, and I certainly do appreciate that. And but at the same time, I think it's important that if we're going to give it our blessing, we have to make sure that we're looking out for the liability of the city for future growth. And here again, by expanding the area of impact, we can touch on that somewhat anyway.
So if somebody, are you just sort of taking mental notes,
Yes,
Gary,
I
about
am.
the direction the council's
Yes.
going? Okay, Walter?
I would disagree with Wayne. The city of Moscow is part of Latah County. Sometimes we all forget that. And I think something special for the largest community and the county seat might be appropriate, especially when their comp plan calls for development adjacent to existing cities. So I'm not, you know, I understand the fact that Farmer Smith or Jones or whoever, you know, out there wants to be able to spin off some land for his son or his grandson or whatever to have a home on, and I think that's, you know, in the city, in the county's discretion, entirely appropriate if they wish to do so. But adjacent to the city of Moscow is different. It's different than adjacent to some of the smaller communities because they're not seeing the growth that we see. Not that we're booming. We're very, very small growth, 1% at best, and not even that lately. But we do have, I think, different needs and concerns as what we are, and we're in the county too. So I would not be shy to look to see if there's some way to accommodate Farmer Jones and his needs, and also the needs as seen by the you know, city of Moscow, represented by the city council.
Anybody else? No? So it sounds like we're going toward communicating with the county commissioners, as we have with Michelle tonight, too, just formalizing that in a form of a letter or, and personal communication, saying, please, 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 delay a public hearing on this until such time as we can coordinate a workshop or other interactive mechanism that would include folks involved with planning and zoning as well as elected officials, so we can be discussing things as sensitive as areas of city impact, future transportation planning, and things like that, so. Yeah.
Got that detail. If I could ask that we get something for the record, either a motion or a consensus of the council, so that Stephanie has something to put in the record.
I'd make a motion to that effect. That was just stated so eloquently.
Woo-hoo, thank you, Tom. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, eloquent too, huh? Any discussion? Oh, yes, Tim?
The assumption is the county planning department, the county commissioners, city council, city planning department is included in
Planning and
this.
zoning, community development.
Yeah.
Planning and zoning.
Just,
Yes.
yeah, the
Great.
folks who are most knowledgeable, most intimately involved in the, discussions, the staff recommendations that come to us, as well as the policymakers who need to be informed in what sounds like a pretty complex issue.
Yeah, perhaps other city in the county mayors as a, here's what's going on here with the county. Just a thought to make it a little bit
Well, I
more
mean, we
inclusive.
certainly
At least invite
always-
them to be in the audience.
Oh, absolutely. If
Okay.
somebody thinks they're a stakeholder around our community, they are.
Yeah.
But I do think that it's incumbent on the Moscow City Council to be looking after Moscow's interests. So, I mean, it's hard to be all things, all people, and that's one of Michelle's jobs, right? That's difficult.
To be all
It's
things
because we have variety in our county, and I think we sometimes forget that, so. Okay, anything? Yeah, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No? Okay, we're going to start this one with Tim,
Aye.
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 and that carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gary. Thank you, Michelle.
Michelle?
And Mike.
Thanks.
Appreciate that.